Well, what is up, guys? Jen here. Yeah, the previous videos, Sherry totally over-delivered. She did these 4-part mini series on, getting everything set up, getting the 2 tools to talk to each other, and then having your actual newsletter done so that way you can start going out there and actually have something to offer to people. So today we're just talking about, now that you have, you should be to the point now where you actually have your newsletter set up so that way you can start inviting people to join your list, which is super, super exciting. I'm going to give you some tips on how you can do that just starting out, okay? We're in the beginning stages, so I know there's a lot of different ways we could go into, but I want to get you going in the fastest way possible to where you're taking action and getting results. So we're going to keep it really simple, things you could do now with the actual tools you have in hand, because there's other things we could create down the road and things we are going to create down the road inside of Funnel Bosses that will allow you to do this, on a more advanced level and things like that. But I do want to keep it simple for you today. So the first and foremost, most important thing when it comes to building your list is that you really want to get into a pattern when you're talking to people of inviting them to your list. Think of your list as like a magazine that you're publishing, okay? You have a magazine and you want to get subscribers. You want to get people to open and read your magazine, read your articles, read your content, read what's going on, read the current events, right? You notice that like People Magazine, like all the magazines, they put out monthly subscriptions because things are always changing. Things are always, there's always new news, right? So you want to keep your audience on the up and up with what's going on in your world so you can better assist them with the things you can provide solutions for. So when you're out and about talking to people, it's never my goal to just like try to get someone or try to sell someone one thing. It's my goal to create a relationship and let them know I can offer them long-term assistance, long-term solutions, not just one time, but in order to do that, they want to be on my newsletter. So when I'm out and about meeting people, I'm always inviting them to my newsletter, right? So you want to make sure you're doing that. And, when doesn't have to be complicated, but when you're meeting new people, just actually make the connection, get to know them, build some rapport. And, a lot of times I connect with people for different reasons, maybe because we have the same beliefs, or maybe because, we have the same type of personality, or, I don't know, sometimes I just get good vibes from people. So when I'm talking to them, if I feel like they say something that would allow me to help them or allow me to assist them, I'm always just making sure like I want to stay in touch with them, but the best way for me to do that is through my newsletter. So I'm always asking people, if people pay me a compliment and say, oh my gosh, I love your lives, I'll be like, awesome, are you on my newsletter? Because I always make sure I send out the replays there in case you ever miss one. Obviously you want to encourage people to turn on notifications, but that's a certain way to get people onto your newsletter. If they're giving you compliments and they like what you're doing, they're picking up what you're putting down, you're always like, great, are you on my newsletter? I'd love to get you on there. Shoot me your email address and you can either add them to the funnel you created, which I do typically because then I'm ensuring that it actually gets done, or you can send them the link and say, yeah, here, just hop on my newsletter and we can get you on there so that way I can continue to deliver more of the stuff that you like seeing there. I always give like VIP treatment to my list, right? So you really just want to get into a pattern of inviting people to your newsletter, just even if it's one-on-one in those individual chat conversations. You'll notice on my content, if you look on Wednesday, I hosted a webinar inside of another community I'm a part of, and I initially did the live video and I said, hey, I'm doing a webinar tonight, definitely hop on. Well, once the webinar was over, they can't hop on anymore. So I went back to the post and I edited the post and I said, hey, if you missed this webinar, hop on my newsletter. I will be sending out the replay once I have it. And then I put the link to my newsletter in the comment section so they can hop on my list. This is how you can go out and start generating leads, giving people a reason to hop on your newsletter. Why should they? If you if you are doing videos and you want to use a strong call to action and you don't really know what to say as a call to action, always at the end of your video or somewhere within your video, be like, by the way, if you like these tips, hop on my newsletter. Get on my newsletter. It's da-da-da-da-da-da. I recommend you getting a domain name for your newsletter. I have one, turnpurposetoprofit.com or meetjenjohnson.info. I have a couple of different places that I encourage people to go to so that way they're inspired to go there and actually go to the place I'm wanting them to direct them to, but they're also hopping on my newsletter at the same time. So they're always getting my information. I want to stay in communication with everybody that I meet so that way I can provide them the best solutions and resources because I know what value I have to offer. And that's one thing you got to understand with your list. You want to create this mindset with yourself that I have so much information to teach people. I have so many different tips and resources and guides and things that I can provide to my list, all the content you're creating, you want to make sure that you have that belief in your newsletter. Because if you go out there and you're hesitant and you're like, well, I don't really know what to write, or I don't know what to say, or I don't know this, we'll get into all that. But the most important thing is that you need to get people to show up. Otherwise, nobody's going to see anything that you do attempt to write or put on your newsletter. So just use that as a strong call to action to invite people to your list. Always be inviting people to your list via chat, via call to action, and give people a reason to get on it. So if you have a special training, if you're doing maybe you create a special video series that only your list gets, it's like, hey, I'm so excited. I just created this new video series. If you're on my newsletter, you're going to be excited because I'm sending it out today. If you're not on my newsletter, you better get on it, else you ain't going to get it. You want to let people know that this is where the party is at, right? If you have any events coming up that you're going to that you can promote out, maybe it's a team event or something happening, you can promote the details and the information on there. If you do a Facebook Live and you want to give a few tips, but then you can say, hey, I'm actually going to be giving a few more tips along with one of my favorite resources. Today, I'm going to be sending it out to my newsletter. If you're not on there, be sure to subscribe here and, say the domain name, whatever that is. You want to make the domain name easy for them to be able to go to, which is why I have simple names for my list for people to get onto. So you just go to GoDaddy or wherever to grab a domain, and then you just forward it to the newsletter you just created. And, from there, you can just encourage people to get on that list because you're going to be giving them additional tips and your favorite resources. If they subscribe, they're going to get that information. If they don't subscribe, they're only getting the few tips that you gave them on the live. And guess what? People hate missing out. So they're going to subscribe to your list. It's just human nature. It's human nature. So also you can encourage your list to invite people to your list. Say, hey, if you know anybody that would be interested in the things that I share here, feel free to invite them. The more the merrier. I want to help as many people as I can. My goal is just to do da-da-da-da-da-da. Share with your list your mission. Share with them your goals. Share with them what kind of results you're looking to help them get. And hey, if they know anybody, and have them invite people as well. You can do contests and giveaways and fun stuff to encourage people to do that as well if you want. What's up, Seth? How's it going? Hey, Dana. I know I'm working with Dana really close right now. She's one of my awesome coaching clients, and we're really working on, some of these hacks, and excited to see you rock it out, girlfriend, because I know you're generating the leads, sister. I know you're generating them. So, you can add a banner if you have a website or a blog, which if you don't stress about it. But if you do have one, you can add a banner or a picture to the sidebar to invite people. Like you can have an opt-in section or just a banner that people can click on so they can go opt into the newsletter. So that's another option. So when people are heading over to your blog or your website, they see an option to actually subscribe, and you can give them some different incentives along with that. Those are more advanced strategies that we could get into inside of the Funnel Bosses group. But the main idea is just to really start spreading the news that you have a newsletter, okay? So if you have a cover photo, obviously we all do if we're on Facebook, we have cover photos. So what you could do there is you can actually create, like on your cover photo, if people click on the cover photo, it takes them to the description on the side. You can actually put there, like a quote or something, some little blurb about, how you help people. And then it can direct people to the link to your newsletter. So that's another thing, because people always click on those cover photos. Those get a lot of engagement. So people can always head over there to learn more. And you're really just, you're always wanting to give people a reason. That's the main thing. A lot of times when I just connect with people, I'm always inviting them to my group or to my newsletter. And either way, if they get into my group, they're on my newsletter because I have an opt-in page for that. So, however you're wanting to direct them, you want to just make sure that your goal whenever you talk to people is to see, can I help this person? And if I can, let me get their email address because I want to further help them for not just today, but for long term. And you can always, when you're having those conversations, that's the first way to build rapport and trust and open the line of communication to where you're always in the forefront of that person's mind, because they're going to be opening your emails. You're building a warm market list right now, a warm hot market list. And it's so much easier to write to because these people already feel like they know you. They've had a conversation with you. They've met you. They've been on your personal profile. So I'm just it's a lot like if I was to invite you over my house to come watch, Game of Thrones or, whatever show. This Is Us. I'm watching This Is Us right now. If I was to just say, hey, I have, hey guys, I have this show that, I'm watching this show, This Is Us. It's super cool. If you want to come over and watch it with me, come hang. Like, here's my address, right? It's very much chill like that when you're talking to people about your newsletter. Like, hey, I have this awesome newsletter. I teach blah, 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 blah. Like, come up with a little blurb of like the 2-line sentence of what your list is going to be all about. And target people that would actually want to be on that list. I'm always meeting people that are in the marketing space that want to learn marketing, network marketers, affiliate marketers. So when I meet them, I already know like they're in the space doing what they're doing. But I know that they more than likely want tips and tools and resources. So I always say, hey, my main mission is to help shorten people's learning curves. I struggled for over a decade, so I have a newsletter that really dives into tips and resources that work well for me that I think would work really well for other people that want to build the business, build the same type of model business that I'm building, right? So I'm always just inviting people by just being very casual and asking, are you on my newsletter? Are you on my newsletter? And when you're putting out awesome content, when you're being very consistent, people love to pay the compliments, and I think that's the easiest way to invite people, because if they're saying they love something about you, awesome. Like, they want more of it. Like, do you want more? Hop on my newsletter. I'm always just inviting in that sense. So I want you guys to make this a practice. This becomes like a way of life, a part of who you are. It's not something you schedule. It's not something you write down. It's something that you just get very habitual about doing, is just inviting people to your newsletter. Now that you have one, it's going to be so cool to send it over to them. Or, if you're like me and you want to just have people send you their email address, you can do that. Either way works. It's just preference at this point. Don't overanalyze that. You can shoot it over to people. It does give you that sense of authority when you shoot it over to people, because they see like, ooh, this is fancy, right? And so they think, you're the real deal now, because you got your newsletter up and running. So these are just some little hacks to help you guys get started. As I said, those of you that are going to be our graduates from this 7-day list building experience, you'll be heading over into the Funnel Bosses group, and we're going to be able to dive into more advanced strategies there. If you have not yet grabbed your 2 tools, definitely be sure to do that. It's not too late to get started if you haven't yet. So don't think that there's like a that you're behind or anything like that. Everybody goes at their own pace. This is your own race. You don't have to be comparing yourself to what everybody else is doing. And really, really hope this helps you out. If you have any questions, put those below as well. We'll be checking out the comments in the thread. And if you're watching the replay, awesome. Appreciate you guys. I think I'm back here again tomorrow. But you guys are awesome. I'll talk to you soon. Catch you later.